Yeah, interesting. Spellbreaker in Hosty's deck.
Yeah, it's a card that we used to see a lot of play in Control Warrior, but somehow phased out a little bit, I think.
Yeah, Spellbreaker. Yeah, if you choose to run a Silence in the Warrior deck, which I feel is really important against Paladin, just because you need the Science Tyrion. If you run a Silence, you have a choice between the Owl and the Spellbreaker. Spellbreaker is more of a mid-range creature, so it's a little stronger, I feel, against Paladin and against other mid-range decks. But then you have the other choice of an Owl, which I feel is a little stronger against Hunter because it's just another turn 2 play that you could use in addition to Fire War Axe, Armor Smith, and Cruel Taskmaster. You just give yourself more options against the Hunter class.
Yeah, to negate the early snowballs that sometimes get created just on the back of small minions that cost them almost nothing. Wow, the Golden Warrior actually, like all the cards seem to be gilded up so far.
Yeah. Fortunately, he did not start as player 2, so we don't know if he could have the golden coin.
We couldn't see that. Well, Lifecoach definitely doesn't have his, that's for sure. Alright, so the head of Lifecoach here, he kept Dr. Boom from the mulligan.
He did, wow.
Yeah, he actually did keep the Dr. Boom from the mulligan. And I believe True Silver Champion, unless I'm mistaken and I didn't see it.
Oh wow, piloted Sky Golem. That just means what? Oh my god, did you see that? Hosty took almost the full turn for his turn 1, and Lifecoach immediately passed. Lifecoach did not rope on turn 1. That's extremely surprising.
Well, as you said, he took forever to pick his classes, so maybe he just thought the entire game plan through already. Maybe he has a new strategy now. He just plans the entire game ahead of time, and it's all done.
Yeah, this is a difficult turn for Hosty. He's going to armor up and pass.
Bluffing the Armor Smith, I think, by hovering over his cards and pretending like he's had a choice.
I mean,
in a specific case.
If you have the Armor Smith against Warrior and Turtoon, you're probably going to play it. So
yeah, but it's just
not that big of a bluff. Piloted Shredder. This is kind of a new type of warrior that we're seeing from Hosty. Kit Kat's actually played this. I believe probably this exact deck in the ESL series. It has more minions. It's more minion focused with 2 piloted Shredders. It also has Sneeds, Kel'Thuzad to revive all these Death Rattle minions.
Yeah,
and just basically a new style to play warrior. As we saw with Kalento last series, he tailored his sort of Warlock Demon deck to be anti-BGH. It didn't run any minions that were 7 attack or more. This is kind of Warrior's answer to that. I'm not going to run Alex Strauss or Ragnaros, anything that has 7 attack.
Yeah, and right now we're looking at a board where I think Hosty indicates that he doesn't have Whirlwind, just by virtue of using his War Axe to clear the 1/1. He indicates that there is no Whirlwind coming up on the follow-up turn. Or if there is one, then he doesn't want to, he wants to clear up his turn 4's mana to play a 4-drop.
I think, he's kind of just at the same time just setting up for the 4-drop. He knows he probably wants to play the Piloted Shredder on turn 4, so he won't be able to get the Fire War Axe out right now.
Yeah, and Lifecoach can glean some information as to what he has to do here. Now, with the Fire War Axe developed, I mean, Piloted Shredder is not nearly as appealing.
Oh yeah, definitely not. Lifecoach is definitely gonna consider that the Fire War Axe is on the field, and I feel like because he kept the Dr. Boom in his opening hand, Lifecoach will probably play this a little slower than normal. Yeah, as you see, Hero Power and Pass. He doesn't need to get out tempo. He doesn't need to make tempo plays. He just wants to set himself up so that he can maybe do a pretty good turn 6 Dr. Boom.
Yeah, and there's also, there's a good argument to be made for that, considering just how good his hand is. I mean, he can negate threats very easily. He's got 2 weapons that he can use on, mid-range minions that come out. Piloted Sky Golem on turn 6 if necessary. If he has to use his coin preemptively, can make it, drop on turn 5 if he wants to delay the Dr. Boom. And right now, the options of Hosty are, the Cruel Taskmaster play on the 1/1 is, semi-relevant because you do keep the weapon, but Lifecoach is forcing Hosty to use his second weapon charge to remove the 1/1 if he doesn't have Cruel Taskmaster.
I don't know how much of a force it is because I wouldn't feel too threatened by this 1/1 with my Piloted Shredder on the board. Like, is he gonna consecrate plus use the Paladin Hero Power to clear the 4/3?
No, but it does make a True Silver Champion. The minion that comes out of Piloted Shredder, not a lot of them, but I think 4 or 5 of them have 1 health or so. if not more than
Yeah.
that. There's a few of them that can just die to the 1/1, so you do have to be a little careful, not for because he doesn't have card advantage, and Paladin has a really good means of wiping boards in very efficient manner against you as warrior, and those 1/1s really tanking an entire Fire War Axe. That's perfect value there.
Yeah, trading a hero power for a weapon, it's pretty good to me.
Yeah, and that's Paladin's strength against Control Warrior in most matchups, in most circumstances.
Usually the Fire War Axe is a 1 for 2, but in this scenario it is a 1 for 0. Just a really a flip in what Fire War Axe is usually.
Yeah. So in this case, I mean, if you develop Piloted Shredder, and I need to stop saying develop, if you play a Piloted Shredder on the board, you hope that your opponent doesn't have a weapon as a Paladin here. Because if he does, then he's going to get a little bit of initiative. He's going to clear your Piloted Shredder with the trade, and then use a weapon to kill it. But you've seen one Fiery War Axe, so the likelihood of there being a second one right away is fairly slim. Well,
it's 100%.
Oh, God forbid. Okay, well, it turns out Fiery War Axe had a pretty high chance of being found again. But I think playing the Piloted Shredder was still the proper play.
Yeah, I feel like if I were in Lifecoach's position and having seen my opponent just like throw out that Fiery War Axe, use it to clear 1/1s, I would have in my mind that possibly he's using this weapon somewhat haphazardly, because he might have a second weapon in his hand. That wasn't the case in this scenario, but I think it was something Lifecoach definitely would have considered.
Yeah, and it's interesting because that kind of thinking is the basis of poker, and in a lot of ways, I feel like Lifecoach would definitely fall into the category of players, obviously, since he's been a pro poker player in the past, that would consider those long-term plays, and he thinks that I think that he thinks that I have X or Y, and that's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
he does play the second Fire War Axe.
Ooh, Snow Chugger.
That is actually going to be a pretty good thing for Lifecoach. He doesn't have to worry about the 4/1 in the immediate sense. It just buys him a bit of time.
Yeah,
oh, wow. This hand is incredible.
Yeah, with 2 piloted Sky Golems and the piloted Shredder frozen, Lifecoach could potentially consider coining out the first Sky Golem. But I feel like if he does that, the 4/1 will unfreeze eventually, and he doesn't have a really good way of dealing with it.
I think you'd have to at least Outdoor Peacekeeper on the following turn on the 4/1 if you wanted to get that value.
Yeah, that seems like what Lifecoach is going for.
Yeah, it's either that or Sludge Belcher, I guess.
Yeah, these piloted Sky Golems are kind of acting like mini Savannah High Mains, or not even mini. They're the same strength, but
yeah,
I guess just pseudo Savannah High Mains. And we all know how tough of a time Warrior has with dealing with high mains, right?
Yeah, it's the worst ever. And right now, with 2 piloted Sky Golems in hand, Lifecoach really does have pretty good pressure to put on the Warrior. But he's not threatened yet. I mean, he is on 26 health, 2 armor. He's got the option to shield slam the piloted Sky Golem here if he wants to, and combine that with a cool Taskmaster play if necessary, with the Fiery War Axe to kill a 4 health 4-drop that might come out. But it's a bit of a gamble when you consider all the options that might come out of Piloted Sky Golem.
Yeah, I feel like one of the strengths of Piloted Sky Golem in this matchup against Warrior is that Warriors will at most run 1 silence in their deck, whether it be the Ironbeak Owl or the Spellbreaker. Yeah. And you really want to save that silence for the Tyrion, so you can't really... Speaking of silences, a Keeper of the Grove comes out.
But this is pretty much what Hosty wants to see in a way, because it's going to die the Piloted Shredder by letting it live, so you're okay with it. It's one of the better ones. I mean, Yeti would have been a problem. Senjin would have been a big problem. So in this case, it's a bit better.
Yeah, I believe if Lifecoach is playing more of a standard deck, I think all of his big threats are in his hand right now. Both Piloted Sky Golems, one was used. The Dr. Boom and Tyrion, those are typically the strongest minions you can find in a Paladin deck.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, I mean, the value of cards to come is going to be fairly low if that's the case, because it means if ever Hosty manages to deal with this hand from Lifecoach, the follow-up pressure might be pretty weak.
Now, how does Lifecoach deal with this 4/1? He definitely saw this scenario coming when he coined out the Piloted Sky Golem. Yeah. But maybe he didn't prepare for such a weak minion to come out of it. A 2/4,
Yeah, you could get Stormwind Knights, and that would be even better. So, do you just play the Sludge Belcher or the second Sky Golem? I don't really know if the second Sky Golem being played here is a very strong play, but he didn't attack that 4-1, so he's got to plan on developing the board even further.
Okay, this is a bit strange. I guess he's saying that this 4-1's going to get a lot of value anyway, so I'm just going to give him the choice of some value. Like, I guess if the Shredder trades into the Sky Golem, I guess at least the Keeper lives. That's his logic.
Yeah, because he didn't kill it last turn with a Cruel Taskmaster, so that might indicate that he simply doesn't have one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that might be Lifecoach's line of thinking. If he could have killed my Keeper of the Grove, he would have done it last turn.
Mm-hmm. Sky Golems are pretty interesting. Like, there's let's see who comes out. Weedle and Oasis Snapjaw.
Snapjaw. Wow, that's a high health minion though. Not the most useful, but hey,
it's golden too, so it
yeah, it opens up. Best golden animation NA.
That's pretty funny that I think Lifecoach has one golden Sky Golem and one non-golden Sky Golem.
Yeah, he just opened packs, whatever.
Yeah.
Wow, the True Server Champion here going to combine itself pretty well with those 2 minions on the board to clear the Sludge Belcher. And finally the Cruel Taskmaster play is made, and I think Lifecoach is being surprised by this because he thought to himself maybe earlier that if he had it, he would have done it the turn previously.
Yeah, now with the Spin Weedle on the board, the warrior can now target his hero power.
Oh yes, give powered shields to everything.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it would. Well, yeah, okay, you know what? It'd be fine. It would be perfectly acceptable. Oh my god, Big Game Hunter right now in Hosty's hand going to swing this round. Even more pressure coming out, but there hasn't been a consecration found. No equality, none of that. And Leon Hands is there, Tyrion is there.
Yeah, you can see kind of the strength of this new type of warrior. It's more minion focused, so it actually can fight for board a bit more with the paladin player. It just doesn't rely 100% on weapons, and this is a very interesting board from the warrior player. Definitely not what you would see like a month ago.
Well, what I find interesting is that warrior has gone the way of mid range in a small way. It's starting to add, as you said, more minions, which is indicative of a mid-range playstyle. Instead of being full control, where nothing else but big legendaries are played, now they try to fight off in the mid game a little bit more, and that gives them a bit of a better matchup across the board. And their weakness, which was Paladin in the past, is getting contested a little bit due to that.
Yeah, a lot more decks are just becoming more mid-range. Like Hunter is it moved a bit. Originally, there were only aggro Hunter decks, but it switched to mid-range. Warrior now they were very controlled, but now it's switching more to mid-range. Everything is just kind of homogenizing a little bit.
Yeah. So Lifecoach here lost his Dr. Boom and the Boom bots. There was an unfortunate. There was a somewhat lucky roll for Hosty here. If the Steam Wheel Sniper had been hit for 3 instead of 2, he wouldn't have been able to kill a second Boom bot. So that would have been a bit problematic for him, but it turned out to be just fine.
This Snapjaw is so annoying right now. Probably one of the most annoying minions for the warrior because it has such high health, but you don't really want to use your spells against it because it feels so weak to shield slam or execute a 2-attack minion.
Yeah, most definitely. How do you feel about just shielded mini bot and True Server Champion hero power? Or do you think Tyrion should come out already?
I think Tyrion is always a strong play. Yeah, I think Tyrion is pretty good here, actually. Even if I ignore the warrior's hand, I mean, if I saw the warrior's hand, I would know he has no way to clear this Tyrion. He has no silent. But just regardless of that, just looking at the board from the warrior now, Tyrion, how is he gonna trade into Tyrion? He basically has to sacrifice everything, and then still he needs one more damage from his hand.
Yeah, to do the execute play.
Yeah,
wow.
Tyrion puts Hosty in such a bad position right now.
Yeah, that was a really nice call from Lifecoach. I mean, Tyrion is essentially Dr. Boom 1.0, in that if you have the mana, just play him. It's kind of... it's a mistake that I've personally had problems, wrapping my head around that, because I always felt like Tyrion was so weak to so many things. I mean, they might, kill him and ooze my weapon. They might have Black Knight. They might. But if they don't, the payoff is so massive that there's no reason really just to not play Tyrion right away.
So you said that Tyrion is Dr. Boom 1.0?
Well, okay, I'm exaggerating. I mean, if you have the mana cost, then just play him. That's kind of where... That's the analogy I was trying to make.
But by your logic, wouldn't Tyrion be like Dr. Boom, like beta? Dr. Boom in beta.
In beta,
right?
yeah. Okay,
beta
sure.
testing.
Exactly, yeah. And that's why they felt comfortable afterwards with Dr. Boom. They're like, Tyrion also works the same way. Alright, so we have the Aldor Peacekeeper here being able to fully negate the attack power of Dr. Boom, so that is probably going to be in the range of Lifecoach's play this turns. At least I wouldn't doubt so.
He could use a True Silver Champion charge to clear something else, such as the Big Game Hunter.
Yeah,
but...
I mean, you could use Tyrion and the Oasis to kill the 1/2 that comes from the slime. Then you Aldor the 7/7 and use True Silver to kill BGH, maybe?
Yeah, the problem with using a True Silver is that there's a very strong possibility that you're going to get the Ashbringer next turn. So if that happens, you're going to overwrite your True Silver and lose one charge to your weapon that you don't really want to do.
Would it be really that big of a deal considering the card advantage that he's got and the Lay on Hands follow-ups? I'm asking because I'm trying to figure out if the second charge from True Silver Champion is really that crucial to his current
yeah, you bring up a very good point. But I feel like, okay, True Silver Champion, I guess he assesses that the True Silver charge isn't really that important.
Yeah, and I mean, how does the Warrior deal with this? He has to use an Execute at least. To get that 6/6 out of the way.
I mean, Harrison Jones would be a pretty good draw.
Oh, Harrison Jones would be massive here.
Nope, it's a Death Spite.
Yep, not at all what you want to see in this case. But there is a Sneezed Old Shredder here for Hosty, so that's another threat that might help out. I mean, you do want to combine it with Kel'Thuzad, though, most of the time.
I guess the play here is execute, and then you could either... Well, you execute... You run a Boombot in, and then you see where it lands, then decide from there. You could either Death Spite or Sneasel Shredder, I guess, is another potential play. And Sneasel Shredder is probably one of the stronger plays. Like, I mean, you could... even though the Warrior is kind of fallen behind, if a Kel'Thuzad or like a Tyrion comes out of the Sneasel Shredder, then you're back in the game again.
Yeah, and this is not the best Boombot hit, but at least it doesn't hit Tyrion itself. Ooh.
Okay, this is pretty good, actually. I didn't think of this. Death Spite. You can
Death
save
Spite
your
would have to
execute.
be combined with minions.
I think Execute is a very strong option here because you've already seen 2 piloted Sky Golems, and you've seen the Dr. Boom. And typically those are the strongest threats from Paladin, so there's probably not anything better for... There's not anything better for you to execute.
Lifecoach, a breath of relief here at the sight of the absentee Harrison Jones, as his weapon will actually be useful for him in the follow-up. I saw his face just go from, oh yes, okay, that's fine. Because if Ashbringer gets removed and the Warrior comes back in the game, tempo-wise, it's much simpler if you've removed the biggest threat from the Paladin deck.
You know what's funny is that Lifecoach can actually deal with Kel'Thuzad coming out of Sneasel Shredder this turn.
Sneasel Shredder, yeah. It's one of the unique scenarios. But I don't know. I'd really like Lore Walker Cho.
You like him as a card, or you like him when it comes out of the Sneeze?
I like him when it comes out of the Sneeze Shredder. I think that's where... I mean, it's the only time I see it in competitive play.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't exist, and
well,
you
can also get it from the piloted Shredder. Right.
True, you're right.
I feel like when that happens, like the Lore Rocker Cho is better for your opponent than you because you don't always have the option to kill off your own Lore Rocker Cho, but they do, so they can kind of control. Oh my god, this is the anti-Lifecoach card!
Oh my god, Lifecoach is going to lose this game!
Oh man, Lifecoach has to clear it immediately!
Yo, Lifecoach, hurry up!
Oh my god! Hosty has figured out how to counter Lifecoach.
He couldn't play his Sludge Bouncer and he facepalmed.
Oh my god!
Oh my goodness!
This is actually countering.
This is insane! Oh, Lifecoach! We are so sorry. Oh goodness! But he's fine though. He's got it. Oh, is he fine though? Does he have to equality this just to keep playing properly?
Oh my god.
I can't believe
This is crazy.
Oh no.
This deck is insane.
This guy's deck is insane. Okay, does he have to equality? I don't think so. I think you just use your Ashbringer on the 5/5 and then drop Sludge Belcher, shield the mini-bot and forget about it. Stay calm and just shielded mini-bot. There we go.
We have to talk extra fast too because this game is just going so much faster than we expected.
Yeah, and there's also 2 Acolytes of Pain, which are going to give card draw here for Hosty after he pops out his own Death Bite, which is going to be really important in this case. Get 2 card draws out of the Acolytes of Pain, that's going to be crucial. And it's going to take so long for him to get the card draw.
You know, Sludge Belcher is also has great synergy with Nozdormu because it forces your opponent to watch. Yeah, you force your opponent to watch the animation of Sludge Belcher dying.
Yeah, and if you've ever seen this happen in a real game, you know how okay, no, he cannot possibly Iron Beak Owl this.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can also Iron Beak Owl the Nozdormu just to
negate the effect.
Is he, okay, he's not gonna do that. He's gonna negate the Acolyte of Pain instead.
That would have made no sense at all. It would have been amazing to witness, but it would have made no sense. Alright, so Lifecoach keeping his calm, and you know what? I think he should do some stress testing with his partners where they start the game when Nozdormu comes out. Or they put a timer next to him. 15 seconds, you've got to playtest this. It's kind of like hardcore training for Hearthstone.
Oh my
god. And Lifecoach would get quite a bit of training out of that. This is incredible. I can't believe we're actually witnessing the Nozdormu metagame against Lifecoach.
Yeah, and out of all people, Lifecoach has to face Nozdormu.
Yeah, this is more fun than I could even believe. Alright, so the True Server Champion can finally get rid of Nozdormu, but he realizes that even though it's annoying, it's not a threat. It's a 1/4. Like, how much do you truly care about a 1/4 in this case? And he has to think fast because the rope is coming.
I think Nozdormu has survived on this board for like 4 turns or something. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, it means Lifecoach is able to keep his calm. It's like high pressure moment here for him.
This is his worst nightmare. And drawing cards with the Acolyte of Pain. The drawing card animation will also... Oh my god, another card draw. Well, this is supposed to be able to play everything.
He'll be able to play at least the Pilot Shredder because you can queue actions faster than you can see them happen. But he won't be able to attack with the Acolyte... Oh, no, never mind, he is.
Wait. Okay, he got everything through.
Okay, everything worked out in the end. Okay, Hosty has incredible APM is what we can gather from this.
Yeah, you know what?
And now, actually, Lifecoach not in as favorable a position as he was a minute ago.
Yeah, it's all because of the Nozdormu. He didn't get the Sludge Belcher down. He doesn't have as much time to think to make optimal plays.
He's finally going to kill Nozdormu. I think he can't deal with this. I don't know. He has to. Come on, let's be honest. He can't play this game as long as Nozdormu exists. And there it is.
Wait, I think
Nemesis. I think that was not the optimal play, but
I don't think that was the optimal play either.
It was not. It wasn't, not by a long shot. But the panic got to him and he was like, you know what, I can't deal with this, there is no way. This is crazy. Oh, Lifecoach. Witnessing a moment of pure panic. Oh, I can't believe this. I cannot
oh my god,
this.
and the rope actually goes down.
Yeah.
Naturally this time.
He is going to panic. This is incredible. Okay,
now,
so...
Because he didn't True Silver down the 5-2, now that's a threatening presence on the board.
Yeah. Now that is really problematic. I mean, equality is going to give him the value that he wants, though. We still haven't seen the consecration, so...
Oh my god, Lifecoach, he looks so stressed right now, even after Nozdormu died.
And I understand him at this point. I mean, he's not a player who's accustomed to those situations of having to play faster than he's comfortable with.
Yeah, definitely not. Oh my god. Now Hosty, because of Nozdormu, and because of I guess the somewhat
Acolytes of Pain and everything.
Yeah, he's kind of back in the game right now.
Yeah, in a very good way too. I mean, there's still an anti-kill bot and a lay on hands to deal with, and the card draw of the warrior has been kind of used up. I mean, Acolytes of Pain have done what they had to, and they're now out of the way, so there's no more card draw coming in. Whereas Lifecoach might get what he wants, but do you really want to overdraw in a circumstance where you're almost nearly certain that you're going to hit fatigue eventually?
Yeah, this might just be a fatigue game. There's, I'm not sure how many other threats that the warrior is running. Typically, in this type of warrior deck, there's the Sneasel Shredder and just the Kel'Thuzad and the Grom. Sometimes they also add Dr. Boom, even though it's a BGH target, because, hey, why not? It's Dr. Boom.
Yeah. So Twitch chat is currently freaking out over Nosdormu, but I can understand that. It makes a lot of sense. They're still thinking about it, and they never will stop, I believe.
I turned on Twitch chat just to see the reactions. It's hilarious.
Yeah. All right, so the plays here. This is a strong top deck here from Lifecoach. Wild Pyromancer. I'm going to allow him to just. Yeah, actually swinging back in this game very effectively.
Yeah, Wild Pyromancer lay on hands. What an excellent play.
Yeah, it gives him card draw and it negates the board. He doesn't even have to equality yet.
He also has the possibility of Wild Pyromancer and Muster for battle. That's always the combo.
Yeah. Everybody, I mean, it gives you a 1/4 Lights Justice, right?
Yeah, like basically with the Wild Pyromancer lay on hands, he's guaranteed to clear the board unless there's like a patient assassin comes out of the piloted shredder.
Yeah, the odds of that are fairly slim.
Do you know the odds?
No, I haven't calculated the entire roster of minions, but I think it's like there's about in the 35 to 40 minions range. So
Shadow Bomb.
On that specific.
I'm a little disappointed too.
Okay, wait. No, it's a friendly character gets healed. I thought it would have triggered. Never mind.
I saw where you're going with that. But yeah, I thought out of all people, as the winner of Jeoparino, I thought you would know that.
Yeah, but I forget how many there are. I mean, post GVG, I haven't kept track. I mean, the Jeoparino metagame changed.
There's like 50 something of them.
Yeah, like I know there's baseline 35, and then there's a class ones as well. So.
Okay, now this game has gotten a lot less exciting because there's no more Nosdormu.
Yeah, but at least it's I mean, it's still an interesting game. But I feel like the Paladin is finally that Wild Pyromancer really just allowing Lifecoach to breathe a little bit. After the Nosdormu necessary removal from the True Server champion. It's funny how Lifecoach pinpointed the stress, and he was like, you know what? If this keeps staying, I can play optimally, but it's not going to work over the long term. So is this the first time Nosdormu comes up as a tournament play that just...
Almost certainly. I would bet you any amount of money that Nosdormu has never come up in a high-level tournament game before.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think, if you know your opponent is Lifecoach in a set of matches, do you just tech in Nosdormu?
I mean, if Nosdormu were like a lower cost card, like a 4 mana 4/4, and it's like almost viable, then yeah, sure, go for it.
But what if it was like a 7 mana 6/6, 6/7?
Well, we're just going into hypotheticals. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, of course.
Who would go into that? Who would make that card?
Yeah, nobody would. I wouldn't. Good thing I'm not on the design team, guys. All right, so this is this is not a muster for battle turn. For sure.
I mean, funny thing is, muster for battle hero power quartermaster would actually be a pretty good play, but the Wild Pyromancer is just denying that completely.
Yeah, so you start with equality, then you do it.
Oh yeah, you have to equality to clear your own board first.
Of course, you want to make room for the.
You have to attack though. You don't want to miss.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I can't believe I forgot about that. What a big misplay that would have been.
At this point, I'm really curious as to the number of cards in each player's deck.
Yeah, I wish I could see and hover over these things because we're not spectating first hand, so we have to rely on the admins. If they're watching the game right now, if they could hover over the decks, that'd be nice. Because I think Lifecoach has drawn quite a substantial amount of cards through 2 Lay-on hands.
Yeah,
but Acolytes of Pain as well.
It's 2 Lay-on hands versus 2 Acolytes of Pain plus a shield block. So
yeah,
it's probably fairly comparable.
One of the Acolytes of Pain was silenced,
right.
So only one of them drew, I think, 2 cards.
Yeah, one of them drew 2 cards.
Way, so,
yeah, 2 cards, and then you have the shield block. So
3 cards drawn.
Hosty has drawn 3 cards. Lifecoach has drawn 6.
Yeah, so I feel like Lifecoach is a little further ahead in the fatigue game, but he's also way ahead on the board.
A 6-mana shield slam is looking very tempting here.
Yeah, awkwardly enough, I feel like that might just be what he wants to do because he's not going to get Grommash Hellscream to kill anybody anytime soon.
I believe this is actually the strongest minion left in Lifecoach's deck, so that's something we definitely have to consider.
Yeah. That's another pretty nice minion here. Paladin Shredder going to... Is he run? Does Hosty run a brawl in here?
Hosty, I mean, I haven't seen a warrior deck in recent memory that doesn't run brawl.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few like Show once had a warrior that didn't run brawl like a few months ago, but ever since that, then like everyone's been running brawl for the last 2 months, I'd say almost.
Yeah, I've seen quite a large amount of them. Now, Hosty's hand at the top here is getting turned into, I guess, a spectator mode glitched for whoever was spectating. Oh, what?
Oh.
Hearthstone disconnected? Oh, no.
Okay, we're trying to get back into the game.
Okay, the game didn't disconnect. I thought everything disconnected. Okay, the game is back on. All right, never mind. I was getting a bit worried that we just lost the entire Nosdormu setup here.
Yeah, that would have been like soul crushing to lose that game.
This is the well, there's a Kel'Thuzad.
Mm-hmm.
But
because the Wild Pyromancer is on the board, oh, is he gonna execute it?
if he does, it's a mistake. That's the only thing preventing Lifecoach from dropping down the mustard.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, you know, through just natural hero powers, he could very easily do it. You know, there's a hero power Quartermaster next one. That's 3/3/3s. That's a lot.
Yeah, natural muster for battle. Like, make your own muster for battle over 3 turns.
Yeah, it takes forever, and you don't even get Life's Justice.
Oh my god, Lifecoach is almost out of cards.
Ooh, Kel'Thuzad here, coming down with the Piloted Shredder and the 2/1.
That's a good one.
1/1. Yep.
Yeah, he could get a full shielded mini bot and a full piloted shredder back. It's pretty amazing.
Unsilenced, everything, full health. I think this would be a really strong play from him. And then a follow-up with Quartermaster would just seal the game. Although you are putting yourself in a position where Brawl is a bit more of a problem, so you at least have to keep Quartermaster, I feel, afterwards. Just to make sure that if they do Brawl the Kel'Thuzad off, Quartermaster Muster is still a play you can make.
Mm-hmm. Now, Lifecoach only has 2 cards left in his deck. And judging from this deck, it's pretty much exactly a copy of the deck that Savitz was using in his previous tournaments with Paladin. And I think the last 2 cards are something along the lines of Mind Control Tech, Owl, and Shade of Naxxramas. 2 of those 3.
Shade of Nax?
Yeah, Savitz has been replacing Mind Control Tech with Shade of Naxxramas in some tournaments.
Okay, I've seen Shade of Nax a long time ago in Paladin, but I haven't seen it of recent memory. It's been a while.
That's such a bad feeling as the opponent to see your opponent making bad trades.
And then KT comes out. Because you know that's what's going to happen.
Exactly. Oh, Black Knight.
He actually was running it, and Tyrion already down though, so that is mostly a Yeti for 6 mana.
What's interesting about Black Knight is that, or just interesting about this entire deck in general, is that traditionally the weakness of Warrior is Druids, but with cards like Black Knight and with more mid-range creatures like the Piloted Shredder, and with targets that aren't BGHable like Sneasel Shredder, these are cards that can help you fight the Druid a lot more. This type of Warrior deck, it might have poorer matchups in other scenarios, but versus Druid, I think it's become a lot better.
Yeah, definitely, and I feel like that's one of the things they played for, because the old Warrior builds were a little weaker to Druid, and this one is definitely a bit stronger. But now there's no removal coming down, and I think he was considering Gromming the 4/3 in the hopes of a Doomsayer, but he's going to try to drag it to Fatigue.
Oh, Consecration is his last card. Interesting. So there's no silences in... did he ever play a silence, Lifecoach?
No, not for the entire game that I've seen. No, well, there's one.
Oh, there's the Owl. All right, I called it.
Yeah, but what if it had been Doomsayer here? What do? Do you just panic?
Is there any way for him to clear it? No, there's no way for him to clear his own Doomsayer. Well, right now, what Hosty is trying to do with that Black Knight play is he's trying to make his opponent, he's trying to get him to deal as much damage to the Black Knight as possible, and he's just stalling for, to draw the Brawl, essentially.
Yeah, just to be able to get the Brawl off and get as much value as he can out of it with KT on the board. The odds of KT surviving are going to be in the range of 15% after there's 7 minions on board. A little under that, but...
Trying to ask the admins, how many cards does Hosty have? Because that's really important for the rest of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's taking a lot of damage every turn, so until Brawl is found, I mean, he should have 4 cards left, 3 to 4 cards left, as far as I can tell.
Right.
So this Death's Bite.
Death's Bite is not a card, but if things get dire, let's see how much damage is on board. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I think that's pretty much game because... Wait, 17 damage? If he armors up, then Consecration...
Consecration and Muster for Battle's Life Justice is going to do it, yep. It doesn't matter what happens. I think Lifecoach has the lethal next turn. I never thought Muster for Battle would be played for the 1 damage Life Justice lethal, but hey, that's the scenario.
Yeah, Life Justice lethal. And this is just how GVG has worked. We get Naz Dormu in decks. We get Light's Justice being an actual weapon that people use.
Yeah, and it's actually surprisingly been very effective when you get it on curve with Muster for Battle. On its own, it's pretty mediocre, but as soon as you get it with 3 other 1/1s, then suddenly the value of it just increases drastically because you combine it with those 1/1s and you get yourself a lot of value. So is he going to try for the Doomsayer play on the Piloted Shredder?
Yeah, that's I hadn't considered that. That's what he's
not worth. He decides that this is not worth it.
That's actually that's actually a misplay. It was his only way out of the game.
Yeah, it's a faint one, but I guess you have to take it once in a while. So that is lethal from Lifecoach. I believe, unless we've miscalculated, but I think he does have it with Consecration and Muster for Battle.
Yep.
Or even just double Consec. Doesn't even need the Muster.
Oh yeah, double Consecration.
That's less flashy, but it's just
that's pretty good.
Yep. So well played here for Lifecoach, taking the first game against Hosty, despite the Nose Dormu coming out of this needs old Shredder. Paladin very favored against Warriors still, and I don't think that will change for a little while. I'm not too surprised about the result of the game. Bad draws would have maybe caused something different to happen, and he did get very high value minions early on with Paladin Sky Golem, but well played by both players certainly.
Yeah, certainly well played. Lifecoach especially. He was able to overcome his weakness, the Naz Dormu, and actually take that game.
Yeah, this is like the ultimate test, when you've got a final boss in your life and you need to know, am I up to the task? And apparently he is. He's fine. He'll manage. Now he knows. He's confirmed himself as one of the best Hearthstone players just by virtue of being able to, confront his darkest fears live on the spot in front of thousands of people.
This will certainly be on top of Reddit very soon, so I'm very looking forward to it.
Most definitely. I can't imagine that wouldn't make it there. It's at least going to make it on Trollden, if anything. All right, so Hosty's lineup still has a Mage and Hunter. So which one? Against Warrior, I feel like Hunter, if it's against Paladin, sorry. The curve of Lifecoach is pretty high. We haven't seen Knife Jugglers. We haven't seen any early aggression, as you said. And this is definitely a deck much like the one that Ceviches were running earlier.
Yeah, we saw Lifecoach running a Hunter, and it absolutely destroyed the Paladin from Ceviche. So why not pick the Hunter right now? Take out the Paladin once again.
Yeah, and so I feel Hunter... Yeah, Hunter might just be a thing because Mage automatically... I mean, it wins against Paladin, though. Mage has a really, really nice matchup against Paladin, assuming it is Freeze Mage.
Well, that's a big assumption because there's like 10 different types of mages right now.
Yeah, you're right.
You never know what you're going to get.
Assuming it's Freeze Mage, I guess I'm making excessive assumption. I just feel like most of the decks that we've seen right now, even in the tournament metagame, have been very control heavy. Outside of Hunters being a bit on the aggressive side, most of them have been very control.
Yeah, that's true. We've seen Hunter, Zoo, not that common lately, but the new aggro deck these days is the Mech Mage. We've seen Tice use Mech Mage to great effect in Deck Wars just this week, 4-0ing Forsen, to which Forsen is getting his 0-4 Sen name. But yeah, Nimsh has been using this mech deck as well to a very good effect. I believe he got rank 4 NA with it, with the exact deck.
All right, so I guess maybe then there's a possibility that Hosty is bringing an aggressive deck to the roster. But he's picked Hunter here against the Warrior. I mean, the Paladin from Lifecoach. So there will be a chance for the Hunter to show just how strong it is. Maybe it's a good call that Lifecoach didn't ban it if he feels like his Paladin can handle it. And if any class can, I think Paladin would be it in a way.
Yeah, I feel like this hand is as good as any. Undertaker, Haunted Creeper. Hey, why not?
Yeah. It's as good as any. You've got your Undertaker and your Pilot Shredder. Now, Lifecoach is going to want to mulligan, probably for shielded mini-bots at least.
Shielded mini-bots. he doesn't run zombie chows, which is a huge concern. So
Yeah.
shielded mini bot's probably the best card you could hope for. Muster for battle, another good one. Muster for battle, of course, is very good, but it probably won't be that great against the Undertaker and Haunted Creeper that Hosty will start off with.
Yeah.
Oh, but
wow!
this hand-
This is looking a bit better though for Lifecoach than it was for Savage with a similar circumstance.
yeah, Lifecoach couldn't believe that hand that he got if
Yeah.
he just left.
He's like, "There's no way. Okay, I'm out of here. I'm gonna let this play itself."
Oh, all right, he's back, everyone. But his other thought was like, oh, I don't have a shielded mini bot, so I don't have a turn 2 play, so I can just leave, come back in like 4 minutes, and
And it'll
the
have
game
looked
will
normal.
Yeah.
It's just standard play
Yeah,
anyway, 'cause
exactly.
He ropes
It's
all
like-
the time. Nobody's gonna question it. It's gonna be, oh, he's just thinking.
Unleash the hounds.
Maybe that's what he does all the time when there's no face cam. Maybe he just leaves.
Well, Unleash the Hounds, very important. Good counter to the Muster for battle.
Yeah. So here the question I have for you is: Do you feel like coining out True Silver Champion is gonna be better than playing Muster for battle immediately? Because Muster for battle is somewhat interesting here, but
I think it's definitely a viable option just because you have the Consecrate to follow up on turn 4 if
Exactly.
you coin out the True Silver.
yeah, which is usually the big weakness is you have either or, but not both. When you have both, I think that's when you start capitalizing on the strength of True Silver Champion.
Yeah, and just Muster for battle on turn 3. With this current board, it doesn't really do anything. I mean, Lifecoach, or Hosty rather, will probably play a Web Spinner, but just killing off a Web Spinner and summoning 3/1/1s that the Haunted Creeper can just clear up, not that great.
Yeah, and also there's a big, like, the play that we mentioned with True Silver Champion is going to be very good if no other Death Rattles are top decked by the Hunter. Because if he gets another Death Rattle minion, the Undertaker will get way out of range. And there you go. Wow, a 4/5 here. 4/5 Undertaker.
Yeah, True Silver Champion, maybe not the play. Just
Yeah,
because
maybe not
of-
the play after all. It would have been, but in this specific circumstance, it's not appealing at all.
I mean, this is just what Undertaker does. Grows to
Yeah.
like us. Well, Lifecoach can at least take solace in the fact that if this Undertaker grows too much, it'll be in range of BGH.
Does he? Does he even? I don't. Did he play BGH? I don't remember seeing it.
Oh, wow.
Goodness. So do you
Equality.
play? You know what? There seems to be a semi-viable play with the Muster to ping off the Spider. Because you can set up nice consecrations as a follow-up. I mean, you're going to be taking at least about 12 damage by the time you can stabilize, but as a consequence, if this doesn't get cleared by Unleash the Hounds, you can then Quartermaster. I mean, this is so devastating. Do you just consecrate? Do you?
I don't think you can consecrate this particular board because it only removes 2 power, and with consecrate, you probably want to get more value than that.
So Aldo Peacekeeper for tempo?
Maybe like you have to maybe even consider just equalitying this turn. Set it up for the consecrate next turn.
Yeah, you're telegraphing it, but I guess
I mean,
you
what
might just
other
have to.
choice do you have?
Yeah, Muster to ping and then consecrate, but you're gonna take another 8 damage minimum on the following turn. And then Aldor Peacekeeper comes up. Aldor Peacekeeper is not too bad, but if there's no high main, if a high main comes out, sorry, then you're in a bit of a bad spot.
We're gonna see the Muster for battle.
The Unleash the
Okay.
Hounds, though, going to be a
What-
really, really big deal.
I think with this play, you're just forcing your opponent to trade. And unfortunately, he doesn't have to do it with his minions this turn. He can just do it with the Unleash the Hounds.
Yeah, but the Aldo Peacekeeper can stall a bit of the damage output. Even if the minions get removed, for a little while it can be done. Worst case scenario, you then ping the Spider with Life's Justice and consecrate Mad Scientist and the 2 Spider leftovers.
Interesting that there's a Tundra Rhino. That's like not a bad card.
Yeah,
I
from
mean-
Web Spinner, I think it's one of the better ones, because if it doesn't get removed and you curve into high main,
I mean, it can come down on the field, and then Hosty can draw a turn 6 high main. Charging high main is always a pretty big threat.
yeah. The biggest threat, actually. I remember when it was used in some Hunter mid-range decks, standalone, they would just play one Tundra Rhino.
Okay, Unleash the Hounds will come off. Pretty good play.
Yeah.
If he didn't use that, he would either be forced to use all his minions to trade into the Hounds, or he'd have to face a potential Quartermaster.
Yeah, and that means he surrenders a lot of the damage output that he could have just had this turn straight up, and opens himself up for even more consecration value. So I don't think it's worth. I think the play they made here with Unleash was definitely the right one. And unfortunately for Lifecoach, I mean, is your only play something along the lines of Ping Spider Consecration?
Again, no good plays.
But if you do, you then have the Equality Consecration on the following turn.
That's a good point.
Yeah, with the coin being kept allows him to get, back-to-back hard removal. And then Aldor Peacekeeper for any high mains, and...
I mean, that's probably a very good play, but at the same time, if you do that play, you're going to get hit by Undertaker at least one more time. Yeah, and then the Tundra Rhino might come down, or more likely the Pilot Shredder will come down, buff the Undertaker to a 5/6.
But then you Equality Consec. That's when you start. That's where your turn 6 wipe comes into play. And then you have Aldor.
Well, and then what happens is Millhouse Mana Storm comes out of the Piloted Shredder.
Yeah, and then you die.
It seems to me that Piloted Shredder defies the laws of physics sometimes. Like, how could a 4/4 fit inside a 4/3?
Maybe the Pilot Shredder is just a lousy, piece of engineering. So it's just got very little health. Oh, goodness. Oh, goody.
Good.
All right, so a lot of damage mitigation here. I think Aldor Peacekeeper for tempo was a play that makes a lot of sense, because it still forces Hosty to deal with it in a way. Unless he drops Freezing Trap, but if he does that, then he can't play anything else.
I like that Aldor Peacekeeper play a lot, actually. Next turn, he can clear the spiders and just Equality Consecrate in order to basically clear the board.
And then even trigger the trap with the Aldor, assuming that guy stays alive, so yes.
Alright.
So turn 5, Tundra Rhino, turn 6, Shredder, Freezing Trap, turn 7, Dr. Boom, or do you just play Piloted now?
I like the
Protect
Piloted.
against board wipes. Okay.
Yeah, I like this a bit better. More death rattles on the board, that's always good. Okay, he's gonna play even more around Equality Consecrate. Nope.
I don't know that it does, though. Yeah, I think it plays less around it, because you're getting less damage in, so your play to win is a little weaker.
Yeah, I mean, you're Hunter, why not go to face, right?
Rule number 1. So right now, there's a really good, ping the spider, trade with the shredder with your 3/3, then Equality Consec, and now you've got a completely clear board from which to operate.
Yeah, definitely.
But then you don't have any more. You don't have any more Aldors to deal with high mains if they do come out.
You can kind of stabilize, but at the same time, you don't have any heals, at least for the moment, and you don't have very much to deal with future threats.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm afraid of as follow-ups. Okay, so if a Doomsayer comes out, though, that's going to allow him to keep his equality.
Yeah.
Do you actually do you even... Yeah, you still have to. Never mind.
Yeah. Doomsayer is something that I'm sure Lifecoach will be considering. Hosty made the mistake of not considering that. He probably had like a 1 in 52 chance of winning that game. I mean, if a Doomsayer came out in that game, that probably is a win for Hosty, right?
It might have been, yes. Yeah, definitely. So do you even bother with Equality Consec when you could just Consec and wipe most of those guys out?
I think right
you
now
could keep Equality Consecration from the turn 6 and then wipe high mains off the board. Where in this turn, you can just bother with Shielded.
Yeah, he's pretty lucky that a 2 health minion came out of there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately now, the Undertaker is going to be putting in 2 more damage, but I think Lifecoach is thinking that the 2 damage probably won't matter.
Yeah, and in this case, I mean, the Freezing Trap is going to deny the Shielded Mini-Bot value. Oh, the Snake Trap. So he has to at least try to trigger both traps at once. The first trap that was played was Snake Trap from Mad Scientist, if I recall. So the Snake Trap will trigger first, and then Equality Consecration will come in. But still, this is not... I mean, what about the follow-ups? Like, how do you deal with Dr. Boom? We know he's got Boom. So you need to top deck Wild Power Master or another Aldor Peacekeeper.
Yeah, and even if you deal with quote unquote deal with Dr. Boom, you still have
Yeah, you might still die. Yeah.
you still have the left boom bot and the right boom bot to consider.
Yeah, and they might just kill him outright.
Yeah, you might as well get like double roll 4 to face. That's just game over.
All right, here comes the quality consecration play. And now we're going to have, well, I mean, Lifecoach is going to be very disappointed to see that Dr. Boom is in Hosty's hand right now, because this is one of the best cards that Hosty could ever hope for in this case.
I mean, instant call with that Dr. Boom.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer in this case. Which just goes to show how strong the card is. So is there any way here for Lifecoach to come back? I think he's dead no matter what he does. There is absolutely no way.
I mean, I was thinking of some way to activate your piloted Shredder.
Yeah, taunt and... So you play Shredder, you attack a Boombot hits it for 3, it spawns a Frostwolf Grunt.
Yeah, that's... You're still... Well...
You're not dead technically, but the Tundra Rhino would have done it here. Yeah.
Exactly. So 1-1 Paladin, or rather Hunter, is still undefeated. It now has a 6-0 record in this tournament.
Alright, so another Hunter wins the game. I'm actually... this is incredible, the power of Hunter in this tournament. It's just been... Whenever somebody made a call not to ban it, they've been punished. But then again, as you said, slower Paladin deck, curving out a little higher than usual, so...
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but Lifecoach, immediately after that game, he left his chair in disgust.
He was like, no, what is this? And he has a punching bag just right next to it to release some of the tension that comes from losing to Hunter. So Hosty, gonna keep going with his Hunter, and now... which deck do you think Lifecoach will pick as a follow-up?
Okay, Lifecoach, let's see what he has left. He has...
he has Druid and Warlock.
No, he has a Warlock Band, I believe, right? Oh no, he has
Warlock Band. I thought his Hunter was banned. Oh no, that's right. Both of them kept the Hunter alive. You're right. Never mind. He does have Hunter and Druid left.
Well, as the Hunter master himself, I would think that Lifecoach would be confident in the mirror. But then again, it is Hunter mirror, so it's kind of
volatile.
Yeah, pretty volatile, pretty random. But you know what? Like, he might run like Flare to counter other Hunters. He might run Kazam Mystic. I haven't seen Kazam Mystic in this tournament yet, which is somewhat of a surprise. But I think if players knew going to this tournament that there would be so many Hunters and so many Mages, I think Kazam Mystic would be definitely something to consider.
It would have made an appearance. Yeah, it might have been. I mean, we might see it later today. There's still a lot of matches to be played. Hell, we've got round of 16, not even close to finished. So there might be some players who actually have it included in their lists, as some other players in other tournaments that I've seen have included it as a nice tech card. I feel it's a bit costly for what it does, but when it does work, it's going to win the game systematically.
Yeah, because there were just so many Hunters in this tournament, and so many of them have been successful. I feel like this will actually determine the metagame of the next tournament. And I foresee a lot of Kazam Mystics in the next tournament.
Yeah, and as a result, maybe counter Kazam Mystic just to steal back the stolen secret.
Kazam Mystic Wars. That'll be a sight to behold.
But it's funny because they actually counter each other play by play, right? It's just you play one, I play one, and it's back to square one. Much in the same way that the faceless BGH plays used to be done, where I faceless Rag, I kill yours, and then you faceless mine, you kill mine, and it's just pretty much play for play that just counters itself as a tech. And Kazam Mystic does that on its own.
Yeah, it's just like who has the last Kazam Mystic, who has the last BGH, who has the last Mind Control. That's another card that is kind of similar.
Yeah, Mind Control is probably the best example of that, now that you mention it, because it's usually when they both run 2 Mind Controls, it's whoever has the second one last gets the last word, really.
All right, the game is about to start.
Yep, so it's going to be Druid against Hunter in this specific game, which, I mean, I don't know how I feel about Druid against a Hunter.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I've seen a lot of hyper-aggressive Druid lists that might be somewhat interesting, but to say that I'd bring them to a tourney, maybe not, I don't know.
With this particular decision, I'm thinking that his Druid is either a very taunty Druid, so it curves high, or a very fast Druid, so it curves low. I feel like the mid-range kind of Druids aren't that really that good against Hunter. They're not very...
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, they can't really contest the board early as well, and they don't have as much late game presence, so you're really curious to see what kind of Druid this is.
Well, we'll see right now in the starting hand. Maybe to get a hint as to nope, no hint at all.
No hints there.
So we know he's running 2 Keepers of the Grove, so that's like that's the standard, the most standard hand, standard roster of cards. Nothing special there. If we saw Echoing Ooze, that would be a different story. But I think Druid is one of the classes that has the best time teching Kazan Mystics. Oddly enough.
Yeah, Druid is all about pretty good minions. And, oh wow, this is terrible hand for Lifecoach right now. He has the caught though.
Yeah, and I mean, he at least doesn't have to deal with Undertaker. So he's got to be somewhat happy about that. Alright, it improved. The hand did improve with the Wrath here. Going to allow him to somewhat deal with, I guess a Huffer would almost be the best here. Oddly enough.
Well, at this point, Lifecoach has come at a crossroads. Do you want a Wrath here, or do you want a Hero Power? Wrath, because you have such a bad hand right now, Wrath...
allows you to maybe improve it slightly, but if you run into Mad Scientist...
Exactly.
Then how do you feel about it?
If you run to something like Huffer next turn, and you have no response, you're just going to be hitting yourself.
Yeah, and I think the punishment is much too harsh to cycle Wrath right now. If there were another option immediately that could be used as a response, it would be a bit better. Even just a big aim hunter, to contest the board, there's no such thing.
Yeah, Lifecoach deems to not take the risk, and I think he might be. Oh wow, that's pretty.
This
good.
is an amazing.
He might be rewarded. Savannah Highmane already drawn for the turn 6 play.
And Misha gets drawn. It doesn't get better than that for the hunter.
Ancient of War, not good.
What a dry draw. So do you Wrath and swipe the second minion that gets played on the following turn? Like set up a swipe? Or do you just telegraph it too much?
Even if you telegraph it, I'm not sure if there's any way for Hosty to play around it.
And he just hero powers and attacks for 6, and then Lifecoach has to attack into Misha, and then he starts playing Animal Companion and or Freezing Trap. I mean, telegraphing it can be a really big deal because you're going to take an extra 12 damage.
This is a much more safer play. Okay, we see 1 tracking from Hosty.
Oh goodness.
Oh my god, double Mishas.
Innervate would actually help a little bit here.
Yeah,
Shade of Nax.
What the double swipe tells me, or rather the tracking tells me, is that this might be, again, the Broodstar variation of Hunter that's really popular on North America server right now.
With the one, well, you saw the Houndmaster right here. I think this indicates exactly what you said.
1 tracking, 1 Houndmaster. It includes 1 Knife Juggler, 1 Unleash the Hound. Just basically like a toolbox hunter.
Yeah, it's kind of back to the Sunshine roots in a way. And right now, so he did have Wild Growth in his deck. Could not find it early on. No Shade of Nax early. He had the worst possible start. So I think you're forced into Shade of Nax, Rama's Wrath to trade the Shade into the Misha with Savage War on the following turn. This is such a horrendous situation to be in.
Yeah,
or do
turn
you try
5,
to Wild Growth for curves?
Turn 5 Wild Growth, not the best.
Yeah, it's arguably the worst. You have to keep this for card draw at this point. Oh goodness, the curving of Hosty here.
I mean, this deck is almost playing itself out, but I guess he had a decision there to play the Freezing Trap instead of Mad Scientist. It just locks the Druid out even more. Nourish for Lifecoach.
And with Kill Command, that might just be a lethal in the next turn or next 2 turns. At least, Force of Nature will force. Well, I mean, it'll be able to kill Misha in a way. That's like the one upside to it. And then you can heal yourself up with Nature of Lore for all that's worth, or taunt up with Judah the Claw. But I mean, none of those plays are good.
Will Force of Nature be able to kill Misha? Remember, there's a Freezing Trap on the board, right?
Yeah, you'll have to use your Shade, but at least you won't be getting the Shade back in your hand through Freezing Trap and then die guaranteed. Or you could attack with Shade, get it back to your hand, put up Judah the Claw, it dies to Misha, you take 4 damage, Savannah Highmane is played, and then you die.
If you play Druid the Claw, I don't feel like you attack right now, because you can always trigger the Freezing Trap with a Force of Nature later on. Okay, turn 6 Highmane. Sounds good to me.
This is... I mean, Innervate would be almost good, but... And Lifecoach just disbelieving what he's looking at. He can't believe what's happening right now. Is there a Wrath card, a top deck that could save him? If only for a little bit. Deathwing. Okay.
Deathwing. Turn 7 Deathwing.
Okay, I see how it is. So what you mean is no. Okay, that's fine. So Force of Nature would actually not be half bad, but you die on the following turn with Kill Command. Not that you can afford playing around it anyway.
I guess he's digging. I guess
he wants to Slash Belcher? Does he even have those?
Keeper of the Grove? Into Keeper of the Grove? Maybe that's okay?
No, he still dies. There's still a freezing trap over there. I mean, he's dead to Kill Command, but I mean, in his mind, he's got to be trying to play around.
Mm-hmm.
He has to hope that this is
not a card that he wants. Nourish.
Yeah, Nourish because he can, but he had to hope it was Explosive Trap. And
yeah, unfortunately it's freezing, and Lifecoach didn't even get to play. Oh, he did play something, I guess. Spectator mode is a bit delayed.
Mm-hmm. Alright, Lifecoach had no chance there. And again, the Hunter just not getting banned and taking games away from everybody. And it seems like the lists are very similar to one another. As you said, Brutestar.
Well, Hunter is another one of those classes where about 25 of the 30 cards are pretty much self-determined. And then you have the last 5. You get to pick and choose your 5 cards, and you call it a Hunter deck.
Yeah, and you say, oh, this is X or Y's Hunter deck.
Yeah, this is my own Hunter deck. No one else better copy it.
It's unique. But, I mean, with a game, with a deck, a roster of cards is pretty small. Even though we did get GBG, the roster of viable cards is still kind of limited. And you have to expect that a lot of the best decks will contain a very similar array of cards. There's been a little bit of a change with GVG in some slots, but the old archetypes got new tools, and outside of Mech Mage, I think very few archetypes did crop up. Paladin just came in strength though, so that's really positive.
So let's recap this. How many games has Hunter won so far?
7, I believe. 7-0 so far in this tournament.
7-0. All right, we went from 6-0 to 7-0. But I have some news for you. Hunter will lose the next game. I can predict that right now.
Oh, how do you know that, Monk?
Well, because it's going to be a Hunter mirror. At least one of these players will lose with Hunter.
All right, let's see if Lifecoach has his flares or not, or if he gets to start. I mean, sometimes it comes down to whoever gets the coin and the 1-drop plus 1-drop. It can be determined very early, very frequently in these games. Uh-oh. Who's this? That's Hosty's hand.
Okay, that's Lifecoach.
He's not on the coin, though. Hosty is not on the coin.
Mm-hmm.
So he can't just drop a 2-3 Undertaker turn 1.
Like, both hands are pretty good, but one of them has Undertaker.
Yeah. It's funny how I just feel... I mean... He knows there's an Unleash the Hounds in his opponent's hand, so... I mean, it's the opponent's deck, sorry, so... How much value does Haunted Creeper warrant? It's still a very good card, though, in this case. I mean, can you really justify throwing in any of these 2-drops?
I feel like you can't just... Yeah, you can justify throwing out one of them because you have to have a plan going into the game. So you have to have a turn 1 and a turn 2, and if you kept all 3 cards, Leper Gnome, Haunted Creeper, and Mad Scientist, that just doesn't fill out the curve well because he needs to choose between one of the 2 drops at some given point.
Yep. Yeah, I can see what you mean. So he'll just play them later down when he actually does draw them, but he's now curving out nearly perfectly. Actually perfectly, if you look at everything.
Oh, Mad Scientist is drawn off the top.
All right. The Leper Gnome is being traded for. Oh, wow. This could be the draw that determines Lifecoach's game.
If Lifecoach just plays down a Mad Scientist, he runs the risk of a Misha summoning from the next turn. So that means like his bow won't be able to kill the Undertaker, and it won't be able to kill anything.
But then you do get the trap, which might counter Misha in and of itself, in some way. It really depends what is gotten from Hosty's Animal Companion, assuming he plays that right now. And Huffer comes
Huffer.
down. Wow. Okay. Arguably, could we say the worst? I don't think the worst is really it. I think Leok would have been slightly worse. This is like the second best. Misha being the absolute best. Alright, so Lifecoach actually probably able to stabilize a little bit here, and his follow-ups are much stronger than Hosty's at the moment. With Paladin Shredder and Sludge Belcher, this is...
Yeah, he went for face there. I don't know if I agree with that, because now he like basically Lifecoach or Hosty isn't even doing extra damage by going to face because the Mad Scientist can just trade into the opponent's Huffer.
Yeah, I can see that. Oh, Lifecoach has his own Snake Trap. So that Sludge Belcher will come in handy. Guarantee a trigger on the Snake Trap. So the question he must be asking himself here is Coin Paladin Shredder or Eaglehorn Bow, is my guess. There's very little, unless he's planning ahead, all the turns that he's going to be having to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's very fair to plan ahead at this stage. Coining, one of the reasons you want to use the bow in this scenario, if you really want to coin out the Sludge Belcher at some point, or you want the Sludge Belcher on the board. Sludge Belcher is the perfect card against Hunter. It's like somewhat of an anti-Hunter card.
But this is an insane... Like, the Leok is actually the best card he could have had here, I think. Because it lets him trade the Mad Scientist into Sludge Belcher without worrying about anything. Although Web Spinner and Kill Command on Leok could feel somewhat interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, what do you do against high mains afterwards?
Right now, I think the obvious play is the Web Spinner into Kill Command on the Leok. And then maybe attack into the Web Spinner. But the problem there is, if your opponent has a snake trap on his side of the field, then you're looking for a lot of snakes. Like the random 1/1s are just really threatening, surprisingly, because you don't have an Unleash the Hounds in your hand.
So, I mean, the Paladin Shredder, how long will it take for it to fall down at this point? Because there's really no good turn for him to play. If he has to play defensively for the next few turns, he'll have to wait for at least 3 more turns from now. At least that. So, Web Spinner, Kill Command. I don't think he enjoys making the play, but...
Yeah, I think Lifecoach was considering playing the Sludge Belcher. Like, he was planning to play the Sludge Belcher. But the board that was... the minions that were on the board were just too threatening. They traded too well against the Sludge Belcher.
Wow, and now Hosty getting Savannah Highmane and the curved Dr. Boom right afterwards if things keep going the way that they are.
He's considering choosing one of the other two. I don't think Hunter Creeper would be good at all, but Ego Horn Bone maybe.
He doesn't... Well, yeah, if the Mad Scientist dies, then sure.
I think Savannah Highmane is the clear choice, though.
Yeah, it lets you weave in a hero power this turn. Instead of playing Eelhorn Bow and being locked.
Yeah, there's nothing, like, you could consider taking the bow, but there's really not much to bow down. I guess you could go fist.
Alright, now you're talking. So Savannah Highmane is pretty one-sided when only one player has it, but Lifecoach getting his own. This may change things in a way.
I think Web Spinner might still be the play, Sludge Belcher might still be the play, because you want to be a bit defensive since you're on the receiving end of this aggro right now.
Yeah, and you've got your own Hunter's Mark to deal with the Savannah Highmane. And at least a portion of it.
And in addition, you have Snake Trap on your side of the field, so you're going to force your opponent to attack into the Sludge Belcher and summon those snakes.
Yeah, and you're going to get a lot more value out of... Hosty might play around that and just let his opponent deal with it, or trigger the Snake Trap up until the point where he's guaranteed to kill, but he's going to get his own secret from the Mad Scientist. The extra bow charge for Lifecoach probably not going to be to play a big role as far as removal goes, but at least useful in some way.
I think he's still gonna remove the one of the hyenas. That come out of, yeah, he's gonna remove one of the hyenas with the bow because he really wants the slime alive, basically.
Yeah, he won't have much choice. So if this trap that the mad scientist gave, the snake trap, this is going to be very problematic.
Yeah. Wow, he's gonna test for explosive.
Or he's guaranteed, he thinks it's not explosive. It's not freezing, it's not explosive. Now he knows it is snake. So do you just drop freezing trap here and just let him return his own savannah to his hand? But then you can't develop your own...
Yeah, and then...
You could play freezing in Emperor Cobra so that whatever he does play...
Emperor Cobra just doesn't feel strong though, and I feel in this position you need to race, so the Pilot Shredder with 4 attack
with freezing trap? Alright, so he's gonna try to go race and deal damage.
You kind of just lose to Unleash the Hounds, but that's
what else
fine.
have you got?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't play around stuff you can't beat, right? Rule number 1 of Hearthstone, do not play around things you know you can't beat. Sometimes you have to just go all in on plays.
Yeah, also, if Lifecoach did his research and he researched the North American metagame, he would know that this particular deck runs only 2 traps. It runs 1 copy of Snake and 1 copy of Freezing. So he wasn't too scared of explosive that last turn.
So Lifecoach has how much damage on the board? 7, 8. He's got 11, 12, 13. He's only got 13. So not even attacking with high main is probably a best play here for Hosty, because he can just pass and force the opponent to deal with boom bots because they would trigger freezing trap. In which case, well, then again, how many snakes are going to come down? So if you Hunter's Mark Dr. Boom, let's assume that's a play. And then you trade snake into boom, you trigger 3 snakes. Can you actually remove them all? Between bow and shredder, I think you can, but...
I think it just depends on how the boom bots land.
Yeah, but you want to kill the snakes first. Or do you? Because you can't afford letting him trigger snake trap with his snakes.
I wonder.
This is arguably one of the most difficult positions for Lifecoach here. Maybe even playing Haunted Creeper and coin out Savannah High Main just to get boom bots, less targets to hit.
Alright, he's gonna go for it. He's gonna activate the snakes.
Which will take forever.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if Lifecoach will actually be able to clear this all. Let's see.
Is the Rogue going to beat Lifecoach again? I think he's gonna... Oh, nice. Alright, so the first boom bot doesn't kill anything. Wow. He's got to feel very good about those hits. But then again, that last snake triggering freezing trap.
Yeah,
he wanted to use his bow on the last snake, but he didn't have time.
Yeah, unfortunately,
This is game over.
One of the snakes was killed. One of his own snakes was killed by a boombot, but in the end, it didn't matter. Hosty had Unleashed the Hound, so it was game over either way.
So well played by both players, and Lifecoach not banning Hunter actually perished to Hunter. 3 wins in a row for Hosty here.